Welcome back to another yoga short. Today we're going to do a little bit of a really mini leg thing that's descriptive. That's just going to get our legs warmed up. So I feel like you should pair this with something else because me right now thinks this is going to be very short. If this ends up being like 15 to 20 minutes towards the end, then like do your own thing. But I feel like it's gonna be like under 15, but like we'll see what happens. Great. Okay, so you're gonna want 2 blocks and a blanket. You don't really need a mat. I would just use a surface that is easy to have grip with your hands, so not a super slippery floor. And then you're gonna take your 2 blocks or your 2 block-like things, and you're just gonna make a little wall with them, like in the middle of your mat. I'm in a really weird position here, but hello. Great. And then we are going to place the blanket that you have on top of it. And if you only have a blanket and you don't really have yoga blocks or things that you want to set up, just roll up the blanket and place it where the blocks are instead. I luckily have a block and a blanket, or 2 blocks and a blanket, so I'm going to use both. And then I'm going to come over this structure. My hands are going to come forward, and I'm going to find like the lowest part of my belly, like right where my hip crease is, on this part of the block. And then you're going to let yourself come forward. You can either have your arms out in a cactus and have one cheek down, and I'll tell you where to switch. Or if you want a little more sensation, you can just place your hands underneath your forehead in a palm pillow. If you've done this before, you can kind of guide yourself there already. But as we're here, this is a really amazing release for our low belly and helps with digestion. So as we lie here, you might also feel a release in your low back too, because everything is connected in there. So things might be releasing. And really try to unclench your butt. Notice if you're unclenching your butt or your toes or your leg or something, and just really let yourself drape over the blocks as if you're hanging laundry on a clothes dryer, or you're hanging up something on a hanger. I don't know what that word was. And then flip your cheek to the other side if you chose that option. And you might even feel a little bit of a heartbeat or a pulse in your low belly. If you do, just breathe a little bit more deeply into your low belly. You might hear some noises coming from your belly. That's good. It just means things are moving around. And just keep breathing, beginning to really focus on the breath. Well, this may not seem like a legs specific thing. Our legs are connected to every other part of our body via something else. And this helps really release our pelvis and our low belly, which helps with our hip creases and releases our hip joints so that they're not as tight and holding as much tension, so that our legs feel a little bit more agile and mobile. Take one more deep inhale. And one more deep exhale. And then from wherever you are, you'll find your forehead on the mat or the ground. You'll find one hand under each shoulder and just press yourself back into a child's pose with your elbows either on the blanket or the blocks, and let your head just hang in between your arms. And if you really wanted to stay there longer, you can just pause the video until you've had your fill. I love that pose. I try to do that every day. Emphasis on the word try. Take one more cycle of breath. Then you're going to press yourself back up to a normal little thing. And then just move the props off to the side and find yourself in an all fours position. That was an interesting way of moving props. We're getting creative here today. So from your all fours position, find your hands under your shoulders, knees under hips, and just take a few little cat-cows just to bring some movement into the upper body. Since we're focusing on the legs today, still want to provide some movement there, even though, like I said, everything's connected. Go as slow as you want or as fast as you want. All 10 toes pressing down, all 10 fingers. Take whatever speed you're going for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to a neutral spine, and we're just gonna tuck the toes, the right toes, straighten your right toes behind you, and then take some pulses with your leg. So this just begins to get into the back of the calf, opening that up. On your next inhale, lift your right leg up so it's in line with your hip. Extend your left arm out. Find a moment of balance. And then place your left hand down. Turn out your right leg. So now my toes are flexed and pointed towards the camera. And then take 10 little pulses with your leg. 10, 9. Oh, if I count out loud, then I won't lose count. But go at your own pace. If you want to go for 10 really slow pulses, go even slower. Just getting our nice little out of glute moment. And after you've taken your 10, your knee is going to come back to all fours and just take 1 or 2 rocks forward and back, or a little circle just to rinse it out. Tuck the left toes, straighten the left leg behind you, and take your pulses. Remember what I said about not having slippery floors, otherwise your left toes might slide. On your next inhale, lift your left leg up, reach your right arm out, find a moment of balance, feel your core engage. Place your right hand back down, turn out the left toes, hip, the whole leg, and then take your 10 pulses. And if you are dying to point your toe, point the toe. I'm gonna stay flexed. Take this for your 10. I think I was at 5. Who knows? If you do more, you win a medal. Place your left knee down whenever you're ready. Take those little circles and rocks. Place your hands about a palm print in front of where they are and just mosey yourself on up to your downward facing dog. From here, take a few pedals right and left just to open up the backs of the legs a little bit more. On your next inhale, bring your body forward and through to a plank just to measure it out. Make sure your hands are underneath your shoulders, knees are underneath your hips, and then bend the knees, stick the butt up back to your down dog. If you want to take a few pedals more, live your bliss. And then on your next inhale, lift your right leg up, down dog split. We're gonna take some little leg to elbow motions. So bring your right knee to your right tricep or your right elbow, and then lift it back up. Now right knee to nose, lift it back up, and right knee, left elbow, or left tricep. Take that one more time. Right knee, right. Once again, going at your own pace. Woohoo, starting to sweat. And after you finish that one, you're gonna place your right foot outside your right hand and bring yourself into your lizard pose. So my right toes are like slightly turned out. If you want to keep them straight, live your bliss. But from here, you can either have your hands on blocks or on fingertips and take some rocks forward and back. Getting into the hamstring. I was gonna say hammy, but I don't think I've actually ever said that word ever, so kept continuous with hamstring. And you can pause at any point. You can shake your head out yes and no. You can try it with blocks if you didn't end up using them the first time. And then come back to center. Hands are underneath your shoulders. Just notice how this feels on your legs. Your right knee should be tracking over your right toes. Hips are square, even though you have this nice little funky setup. Take one more cycle of breath. As you exhale, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and then gently step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. You can move your props if you need to, and we're coming into a malasana squat. You can take some rocks right and left. Then find your hands in prayer and your elbows pressing out on your knees. Fun. Okay, we're gonna take 10 squats, which just means standing up and then coming back down into this position. So, on your next exhale, just begin to stand yourself up. Cool. Now from here, let your arms drop before we start and just shake it out. Do the hokey pokey. Okay. Inhale, reach your arms up and then start your 10. Hands come down to prayer and up. If you've ever done squats before, you are familiar. Keep your knees tracking over your toes, engaging your legs, engaging your butt. You can always look down and see what your legs are doing if you don't want to trust your proprioception for a moment. And just see how low you can go, keeping your chest tall and long. I have no idea how many I've done. So after you've taken your 10, just meet back down in your malasana. If you have a block, you can sit on it. I'm gonna pretend I did 10, even if I didn't. If you don't have your block, then you can just stay in malasana lifted. Cool, but so our elbows are pressing out on our knees. Take one more cycle of breath. You can use your thumbs to lift your sternum up a little bit as you're pressing your knees out, so you have a lot of equal and opposite pushing and pulling along your body. One more cycle of breath. And then bring your hands down to the ground. Begin to straighten your legs and let your hips rock side to side. Move the block if you used it. Cool, and then heel toe your feet to a forward fold. So our feet are now hips width distance. You can measure that out by putting 2 fists in between your arches. Have a nice bend in your knees, so your knees are trying to reach for your armpits, and just let everything hang over. The good type of hangover. I've definitely said that before, so that was a repeat joke. Have to come up with more material. Take a few more cycles of breath. You can rock forward and back, side to side. You can let out a big sigh. You can make a sound. You can yawn. You can close your eyes. Begin to place your hands down on the ground and either step or hop yourself back to a downward facing dog. Great. Immediately we're going to come to the other side. So find your down dog and lift your left leg up to the sky. Bring your left knee to your left elbow tricep area and back up. Left knee nose. Back up and go at your own pace. I'll be quiet as to not influence your pace. Just noticing your belly engaging. Really try to bring your knee to each point. And after you finish both sides, then step yourself into lizard on this side, placing the back knee down. Untuck the back toes whenever you get there. Hands are going to come on blocks. I'll be on blocks for this side. And then you can take your rocks forward and back. Letting the left toes come up to the sky as you come back. This is really nice for a leg stretch to get the fronts and the back parts of the leg. We're getting into our psoas and up our right side body here. Then we get into the back of the hamstrings, or we get into the hamstrings on the backs of our legs. Super good if you are doing any sort of sport. Cool. You can pause at any point, rock the hips from right to left. I wonder. There's a song I've been listening to that has that word in it a lot. On your next exhale, come back to your lizard and find your formal lizard pose. Your hands can stay on these blocks, or you can place them now just down underneath your shoulders on the mat. I tried one way and I wanted to do the other, so feel free to try and change it. The power of yoga, we can change and make our own choices. Take one more cycle of breath. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, And then hop your right foot this time to the outside of your right pinky. Find your malasana. Then you're gonna place your right fingertips down on the ground in front of your right leg and lift your left arm up. So we get a nice connection between the right shoulder and the right knee to open up the chest. Come back through center, same thing other side. Keeping the back super long. Lifting up. And then coming back to center. One more breath, lift your sternum up to the sky. Exhale, place the hands down, come to your forward fold. Rock the hips right to left. Heel toe your feet back so that they're underneath your hips and hips width distance. And let yourself just hang over. Let yourself make an audible breath. Let something else go here. Take one more cycle of breath. Begin to place your hands back down on the ground and then step yourself back to your downward facing dog. Lovely. On your next inhale, this is your last down dog, so if there's something you needed to do it now. Place your knees down as wide as the mat, big toes touch, and you can sit your hips back towards your heels. Take one more cycle of breath in your child's pose. Or 2 more cycles of breath. And you're gonna walk your hands back, come up to sit. You can sit cross-legged, we'll just be here for a moment. So cross-legged, hands can come face up or face down on your legs. Eyes can come to a close. Just take a moment to give a little love, a little conscious love to your legs. All that they do for you every single day. We wouldn't be who we are without our bodies, so it's always good to give our bodies love all the time, consciously, which is what yoga is really good about. Joining the body and the mind so we can listen to both consciously with integrity. On your next exhale, you can begin to open your eyes and have a great rest of your day. I don't think it was less than 15 minutes, but I really tried, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you later for another yoga short, or in class, in person, or on Zoom.